Yeah, it's nice. Is it like a postery type sign?
Yeah, it's made of vinyl, so
All right. Hello, everyone. All few of you.
hopefully there's a few people on there.
Yeah, well, I did see a few people on the Legends page said they were going to come on. So we'll see what happens. If not, we'll enjoy ourselves. Probably talk to
We'll
you
have a
off for
bit of a
half an
yarn,
hour.
mate. Yeah, we've already been gas bagging for ages.
Yeah.
Worst thing with this
Hey, Robin.
iPad, mate, is getting in the centre.
Yeah, one thing I struggle with is having the camera. Remember to look at the camera, but then you're looking at the computer. Try not to look like a weirdo looking around all the time.
Can you still see me,
Uh,
or did I just? No,
I can see
there
and
we
hear
go.
all right. Just give us the thumbs up if you can see and hear us both all right. Got the
I can't. Oh, good on you, mate.
yeah.
I've got the Legends for Charity one rocking tonight.
Oh yeah. Well, I see. I would have that one, but yeah, not out yet, is it?
I've actually got some new stuff out today too.
Oh, okay. Like, have you advertised that you've got it out, or you just?
Well, I was actually thinking about doing it tonight, and then I read someone else was doing a live feed tonight, so I thought I better not butt in. So I
Okay.
butted into his live feed.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. Fair enough. Get your plugs in wherever you can.
Yeah,
Hey, Trev. Good to see you on. Who else we got? Got Robin.
I'm
Handcrafted by
just
Terry G. That was I really enjoyed that. What was it? Wednesday night with
with
Buck. That
Buck.
was yeah. Good questions.
Yeah,
Got
7 people
Anthony
on
Wick.
there. Anthony Wicks is on there. Trevor Kelly,
All the legends are getting on.
Annie Fuller. She's up in the bedroom. She's left the lounge room and gone upstairs to watch.
Oh, it's like she's out camping.
Yeah, getting away from me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm home alone today, so that's why I thought I'll have a couple of drinks and jump on.
How you going, Terry? I'll tell you what, Terry, that was a good video you did the other day on baking the bread, mate, and enjoyed your live feed with Buck as well.
Yeah, that bread one was unreal. It was right up there, wasn't it? It's sort of like you always expect things to be all right, maybe out of camp oven, but that looked like it belonged in a shop. Go in a bakery, it's
It,
right there.
I was there, and it absolutely tasted amazing. Like it was probably what it was. It was better than any of the bread you got from a bakery. Like it was
Yeah.
that nice.
Would have been nice when you get them that fresh warm as well. And
Yeah,
it's one of those things. If you've never had fresh bread like that, you can't compare it to anything else. It's completely different.
and like Robin and Terry both say, anything you can cook in an oven, you can just about cook in a camp oven. You just got to
Yeah,
sort of get out of your comfort zone and have a go at it. So we've been getting into it a bit lately, doing a bit of camp oven cooking and cooking stuff over rotisseries and things like that while we've been camping.
yeah, and that's where I'm starting to go as well. I've been looking into the camp oven stuff for a while, and whenever you go online, or like on YouTube, all you find is like stews, dampers, and scones. I haven't seen a bread until Terry did his bread.
No,
But like stews are good, but the thing that I find, like if we're going away and there's a big group of us, like at least say six of us, that's where a stew can be good because you end up cooking a fair bit. But if it's just the two of you, I just find doing a stew is a little bit overkill unless you want to have it the next day.
yeah,
So yeah, we're looking at doing a few other things. We've done a few roasts because we enjoy doing them, and they're a really good one to do on a camp oven. And they don't take a lot longer to do than just what you would at home. Like I reckon if you didn't have a fan forced oven, it wouldn't be much difference between that and a camp oven.
Well, I actually watched your video the other day with your chicken you did
Yeah.
and your little head torch and
Yeah, what a disaster
and
that was. Did not think that
No,
through.
it was all right, mate. I got the gist of it. So,
Yeah,
but that is something you can cook up though, can't you? Like when you're camping,
yeah,
and it's an enjoyable meal.
yeah. Well, like I've done that one a few times, and I've done it where I've gone out camping. I've done all the prep and everything because you got the marinade. You have to let it, set for a bit. But I've also done it where I've pre-done everything and then just taken it out. And if you do that, it's really hardly any time, and you've got a pretty good feed.
Winnie wanted to say hello.
Oh, hi Winnie. I better get my two scruffers up, and then ah,
Oh,
very
look,
similar.
very similar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mini.
yours has got pointy ears.
Yes, that's the main. So it's mini Foxy Cross Jack Russell, and it's just the ears are
Yep.
really big, whereas usually mini Foxies have the quite small ears.
Yeah.
I'll just grab the other one so he doesn't feel left out. This one here always gets a lot of questions, and no one can work out what sort of dog. I'll see if I
A
can
bit like
move
a
back a little
kelpie,
bit.
isn't he? But
That's what everyone says.
yeah.
It's got the same sort of shaped head and pattern as what a kelpie would.
Yeah.
Mini Foxy Cross miniature dachshund.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Would have
the
never
only way
picked
you
it.
can no, you don't until he's laying down and he's really long.
Hmm. Buck's on. How
Oh,
are you, Buck?
diddly don't. Yeah, well and truly.
Yeah, yeah. Buck's.
Yeah.
That's like everyone always asks Buck about Rafa,
Yeah.
and
They're
yeah,
hard to
what's he
pick
say?
sometimes.
One part mongrel, one part greyhound, one part bloody something
Bitzer.
else, and yeah,
Yeah. I actually find um, sometimes having the mixed breeds a little bit more interesting. And I think you do avoid some of the health problems that you do with some purebreds.
mm,
I've actually, speaking of Rafa, got a couple Rafas here. Let's see. Oh,
cool.
little coaster. That's when I was just starting to learn laser cutting.
Oh, okay, been doing a bit of it too, have you?
Yeah, well, that's sort of my job, learning that and
Oh,
teaching
okay.
kids how to use laser cutters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did one of Buck's head, and it came out slightly better than the real thing, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah, speaking of heads, Buck was mentioning mine the other night. I I actually went to sleep. I didn't actually see the final result, but I think everyone agreed that I do dye my hair, but I don't.
Oh wow.
I just wear a hat. I have got the
Yeah,
grey sideburns burning
yeah,
now,
yeah.
but
I can see why you asked the question.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just starting to get to the age now. I'm just starting to get a few grey hairs and starting to thin out. Had real thick hair for a long time, and then like in last year, it's like, wow, I need to get out of this stressful job.
I think work does it though, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Especially, like every job's stressful, and like some are. I definitely find my job pretty stressful.
And
And I find,
do you find camping's a good way to like? Is that why you do your camping when
oh,
you?
definitely, and that's yeah. Well, I found that because if you with teaching, you're basically working every day of the week. People don't think that, but
Mm,
you do.
yeah,
I've cut back now because it's just like, well, you can work 7 days a week and you still don't get the job done. And then you end up just burning yourself out. So yeah, I started going away camping. Um, I probably didn't do it until I got my army vehicle. That sort of
mm,
got me back into it because we traveled all around a lot with work, so we didn't really have a lot of time to go camping different places. And we're sort of happy being where we were and just checking those areas out for day trips. But yeah, then we started. Now that we're sort of a bit more settled and close to home, my brother's got him and his wife and his in-laws have a camping, not a camping business as such. It's a horse riding and campground on 6,000 acres between Singleton and Sydney. Shad Donahue did a video probably 2 months ago on it. So it's
Yep.
good just to go out there, and you can go out there and just go away from everyone. You can go
Yeah.
close to where
Yeah.
the minis are, but you can just go, and all it is just nature then.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good and pretty relaxing. And we often will go out and we'll set up, get the fire going, and then just put music on, because we like to have just music playing of a night, have drinks, don't care about what time we eat. Just we cook, and then when it's done, we eat. And then you wake up in the morning and all you hear is just bird sounds.
Mm.
It's pretty good. And
You a early riser, or you like doing the sleeping when you're camping?
uh, when I'm camping, it's probably more early riser, even if I
Mm.
stay, like, not very often when I get to bed before midnight. But yeah, because I don't know if you've realized, but as the night gets on later, especially after midnight, and even the early hours of the morning, the sky is very different. The stars, like the
Mm.
stars you see then, it's completely different sky to what we usually just associate nighttime with. So
Mm.
I like to just be sitting out there, and when you're out bush, also compared to in town, the amount of stars that you can see, the difference is chalk and cheese.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Like we were camping there just down the bottom of the Gilgibber Range, so we were probably 200 k's any direction from any major city or anything. We're like in the middle of the bush, and I took a heap of photos of the night sky, and like it was just unbelievable. Like the amount of color and the amount of stars, like it was just
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. Dean
and it's also
Rachy.
that. Yeah, so Rochi's just up the road from me. Haven't met him yet. We're going to meet up soon. But yeah, down the putty, that's the one. Chapman Valley Horse Riding it's called, but it's also a camping business they've got there, and it's on 6,000 acres. You can go for driving. It's sort of, they get a lot of people. They'll pull in just with the caravan, stay the night, do a horse ride. But you can go right out to. I went for a drive through some of the tracks they have out there, and they've probably got about 40k. Oh, that's probably an exaggeration. Probably 30k's of tracks you can go. Some of them are just easy that you could probably an all-wheel drive vehicle, but there are some there that's definitely low range, so good mix.
Mm.
So that's probably where I'm going to try and get Rochi out to have a look out there. And yeah, the other thing I was going to say too, with the early hours, so around midnight to sort of 3 in the morning. But I don't know if anyone else has realised, that's when it's really quiet outside. All the animals are sort of gone off to sleep by then too. It's not until a bit
Mm.
after 3 they start waking back up and you hear them again. Except
The
for
only one
indoor
that
summer.
Anne will disagree with you. She'll say that's when I start snoring.
Yeah, it's definitely you got to get to sleep first. It's their problem after that.
The old Bucks just put a bit of a comment up there saying how it's good
Yeah,
everyone's getting together and getting on there. It is. It's a good community.
yeah, and it's probably the best statement about that. It's the best community, and that everyone everyone just, even though everyone's different, everyone just gets along really well. Like I know I've
Yeah,
been
it
in
doesn't
other
matter what you
communities.
do as a job, or it doesn't matter what you
Yeah,
do as a job or anything like that. You're not judged. You're not.
yeah,
Everyone's just out there to enjoy each other's company, and it doesn't matter
yeah.
whether you're a millionaire or
That's the exact it. You can turn up in a car and just put a simple tent, or you can have a big caravan, whatever. No one,
yeah,
there's no bad blood or
no
bad talk.
judging.
Everyone sort of just gets, yeah, everyone just gets along.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I noticed at Harvey Bay, the Mr. Buckaroony camp up, is that everyone was sort of interested in everyone else's setup, and no one was like, "Oh, that was a crap setup." And that's
Mm,
because that's my favorite thing too, is seeing different setups.
mm.
It's probably one thing that I dislike about when I go to just Land Rover events where you might have hundreds of vehicles. People become competitive then, and it's about having the best, and you don't know people's situations why it might be like that. Whereas as soon as you get mixed things, it just the competition goes out and everyone just seems to get along much better.
Mm. Yeah, we were talking there earlier before we got on here. You were telling me you're just in the processes of reevaluating your camping setup.
Yeah, so for those people that can remember, I had the ex-Army Land Rover at the Mr. Buckaroony event, and some people know I sold that a couple months ago just with the cost of living, just trying to get a bit of money back, while things were selling at higher prices. So now we've got multiple vehicles and just trying to work out, we've got our Big Daddy Deluxe swag, which we love, but it's really big and doesn't fit in all our vehicles when we're going away. Or if we fit it in, we can't take the dogs, which can be a bit tricky at times. And then we're looking at, it's funny, it's actually quite similar to Buck because he's had the swag and he's got the Oz tent, and we're looking at the Oz tent, but we don't have roof racks on every vehicle, and it can't fit inside the vehicle really well because they're about 2.3 meters long. We don't want to do little dome tents. We've done that before. They're not good quality, and they're hard to get changed in. Like, not that, like we get changed in the swag laying down one at a time, and it's doable, but it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
Whereas now we just like to have just a bit more room so we can stand up, get changed more comfortably, and yeah, that's what we're sort of looking at.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah,
we all sort of I just a few other guys on there, Lukey Reed, Freddie Boots. How you going, mate? Oh, Freddie's been putting some great photos up travelling around. Where are you now, Freddie? I haven't sort of seen you the last few days.
he put up a comment the other day that he was off somewhere traveling. Was it
Yeah.
over Western Australia, maybe?
Yeah, somewhere in Western Australia, I think he was.
Yeah,
Luke, could you go for...
yeah, I'll put that comment
Lukey's
up.
just asking.
Yeah, so that's something that we've looked at, and I've always liked the idea of like an old Viscount or Millard caravan because they're usually a bit lighter. And then we've looked at camper trailers, and I think if we're going to go a camper trailer, it would probably be just the hard floor ones that fold over, a bit like I think they're Cub campers. I don't
I
mind the
know where
look
you
of
can get a
those
good
ones.
dot trailer. There's dot 261.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could. That kind of defeats the purpose of me selling my other vehicles to get a bit of cash, but yeah, I could.
I just dropped the price
Yeah.
on it.
It's I wonder if you went to sell it 12 months prior, whether you would have got what you started off asking and pretty quickly.
Oh, I think it's just the market at the moment. I think things have really slowed down.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I haven't tried to push it too hard. But I'm not in a hurry to sell it. But
Yeah.
I think it's just everyone's sort of struggling a little bit at the moment, just with way inflation's going and all that sort of thing, and like house repayments, all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. I mean, luckily we've got through all that. We're sort of got ourselves all out of debt and everything. But
Have you noticed just recently the cost of electricity has just gone through the roof? Where you might not have had your next bill since.
oh well, we've been pretty lucky, Annie and I. Like we got in on the solar program like when it first came out, and I put a shitload of solar panels up on the roof of this house.
Yeah.
And it was a fair investment when I did it, but I'm lucky if my power bill's like $20 a quarter or
Oh.
whatever it is.
Well, see, we have are you on a battery storage as well? Or just,
No, it's been something I've been thinking about because they've been advertising a new battery storage thing on TV lately. It's about $3,000 or something, and they reckon you eliminate whatever bills you got altogether.
yeah. Well, we've got I think it's a rough 6.4 kilowatt, and we were paying $150. Are they quarters? Anyway, I think they're quarters. We are paying 150, and then our last one was 400. And it shouldn't have been because we actually didn't use the air conditioner as a heater because we got a fire. So
Hmm.
we'll have to look into that one. Anthony, do you ever go, oh, I wish I still had the forward fold camper, and what made you decide to go from that to the setup you've got now, besides the fact that it's really cool? Yeah, so with the trailer, so Bucks just said there that he's thinking of a 5x7 box trailer to cut camper gear. And the good thing, because I had a similar size box trailer before, and it's good because you can use it as an everyday trailer then, especially if you don't have a
Mm.
ute. Whereas a camper trailer, it's a dedicated camper trailer. If you with most of the ones that you'd buy, I suppose it's a bit like your drifter one. Like that's just a dedicated camper trailer.
Yeah.
You'd have to do a lot of changes to it to use it as a box trailer, and it wouldn't be worth it then. You're just
I
better off
know
with
I
a
used to have a forward fold camper trailer myself, but I used to, when I wasn't using it as a camper trailer, I used to unbolt it off and just use it as a trailer.
yeah.
But you have got to be careful, though. You run into all sorts of other problems then because it gets knocked around a bit, especially if you're throwing rubbish in it and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, true. And that I have seen a few box trailers, not many, but a few, where they would get a rooftop tent and just put on it. It was similar to what you were just saying, and how you just bolt it on, bolt it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen a few of those Bunder tops.
yeah. However Phil says it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that I did have a trailer. That my problem with the trailer is I actually wasn't using it enough as a trailer um, to justify it. And the other thing too is um, just the one thing I like about the vehicle and a canopy setup is everything's well and truly locked away. It's probably a bit like
Yeah.
your drifter trailer, your dot trailer. It's pretty well locked away. Like obviously anyone can get in anything if they really try.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I just had a canvas top on mine, and I thought, well, it would limit a little bit what I would put in there because I have had a vehicle broken into once before where we left it at the campsite. I think we went canoeing or something. Came back, windows were smashed just to get into it. Didn't get anything out of there in the end, really. So
Mm.
ever since then, you're sort of a bit wary. Just going to go through a few of the comments. I can see what people say that it's easy to miss comments when you're jibber jabbering so much.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of people are just saying, yeah, good idea about the box trailers or
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. We mostly do overnight camping. I probably should have said that before. It's mostly overnight. It could be like going away for a weekend, head off on a Friday night or a Saturday, come back. If we're traveling somewhere, we tend to just one spot, move on, next spot. Very rarely do we stay 3 nights or more in one spot camping. So that's where if we were doing that, like how you guys go away. I think do you usually go away for just one night? Or you go for a couple of nights when you guys go away and
well,
do
the
your
way,
super camp up?
yeah, we try and go away because we do like a rotating roster, like we do like 5 days on, and then we'll have a 3 day weekend. We sort of nearly every weekend we have the 3 days off. We try and go somewhere,
Yeah,
so we'll book in somewhere close, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave Monday.
yeah. Um, and I think if we were doing that, that's when we would start to go. All right, let's get a camper trailer or a caravan. Funny that with this comment here, box trailer can keep you legal with GVM also. This conversation came up in the staff room the other day, and I just walked into it about the caravans getting checked because Buck was saying about how up north they're not really bothering with caravans. Apparently, they're doing a bit of a blitz in New South Wales at the moment, pulling over heaps of caravans to check them for their GCM
Mm.
because that's the biggest problem. People are putting their caravans fine and their vehicles fine, but when they put them together, that's when they're just way over.
Yeah, yeah,
So apparently, they are doing a blitz in at least around the Hunter Valley, from what I've heard. So
yeah. Well,
imagine they're doing it around
they
everywhere.
were up the road at where was it? Just up near Childers or something where there the other day. I don't think it was a blitz, as in they were booking people. They were actually pulling people over and giving them a free weight check and supposedly telling them, if they were over or not. Whether later on down the road, like they get 50 k's down the road and they ring the next town and say, "Oh, look, there's a caravan with Rego, blah blah blah, going through. Pull him over and book him." Who knows?
Yeah,
But yeah, they were doing a weight check there the other day.
yeah. We just came back from Byron Bay on the weekend, and passing a lot of these caravans, like the off-road ones, they're absolutely massive. Like just the height of them, I would hate to be towing that. Like
Mm.
they're just absolutely huge. Gust of wind and everything. Yeah. That's one thing that has changed a lot with caravans. It's just the absolute size of them. And I guess we're probably, I don't know, do you think we're filling them with a lot more gear now or heavier gear than what we used to?
Yeah, like a lot of these bigger ones you see, like they're all carrying around washing machines and buddy dryers, and they got the Weber in
Yeah.
there, and they're carrying a lot of gear in them.
Yeah. And that's one thing too is the amount of water. Like when you're looking at the storage of them, they might have 160 liters of water storage. How much is on the dot trailer?
280 litre tanks.
Yeah, which is really good. But then if you fill that, that's 160 kilos. Then it's
Mm.
you'd have to start thinking about that weight along with everything else. Yeah, that's what I reckon too, Terry. That by the time you have this massive setup, it pretty much is like a truck and trailer. Yeah, fuel consumption definitely. So
Yeah, I don't know
um,
how some of these people do it now, like traveling full time. Like,
yeah,
um, it's expensive business driving a vehicle these days.
yep, yeah, definitely. That's like with the older, I've got older diesels and petrols, and the older diesels are actually not too bad. If I drive them sitting around 80 k's an hour, I can get around 10 liters to 100, which is good for an old car. But the old petrols, they just chew through it. Fuel consumption and economy wasn't a big of a thing back then, is what it is now. And the fuel prices too just fluctuate so much. Like in town here, we had $1.87 across the board overnight,
Mm.
$2.20 everywhere. Like, how does it jump up?
Yeah, I
30
know.
plus cents. Ridiculous. Or you might go down the road and it could be, 20 cents cheaper. And it used to always be, because we're not far from Newcastle, Newcastle was cheap. The further you got away, the more expensive it got, which makes sense. But now it just seems like everything's just about marketing it. It's not about what it actually costs.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, Anthony, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Doing 110. I don't know. Caravans, are they not capped to 100, are they? If you're towing?
I don't know. Annie might know. She's always looking that stuff up if she's watching. Put it up on the
Yeah.
screen, Annie.
But they should definitely be, you know, capped, I reckon, to 100. But truck is, why shouldn't a big caravan? But yeah, I've seen that too, and they just go absolutely flying past, or even through roundabouts, like especially the off-road ones, they're so high off the ground, they're going around a roundabout, and it just, I don't know how
Bucks
more
just
don't
said
get
in
over.
Queensland 100 km/h limit.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I wonder what it is in New South Wales because I see them all the time doing more than 100.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I'm with you, Terry. So, like, we haven't really towed, I don't think I've towed a caravan before, but I've towed plenty of Land Rovers on trailers. And rarely would I, if it's a smaller, lighter one, yeah, I might do 90 if it's on a good country road, like it's straight highway. But otherwise, it's 80. It doesn't take much for a big gust of wind or, something just to go amiss. Or if you have to slow down because of something up ahead of you, you know, the difference between 90 and 80 is a fair bit. The other thing too about sitting on 80 with my older vehicles, uh, some of them I can do 100 fine, some of them 90 starting to rev up, and 80, 85 is a comfortable zone. And I actually find if I sit on 80, people don't get the shits with me as much as if I was sitting on 90. It's because if
Mm.
I'm sitting on 80, they can overtake me easily. And,
Yeah.
say we're going through the putty road where you can't overtake. As soon as I get a couple of vehicles behind me, there's a spot I just pull over, just go in second gear off the side of the road slowly and then just come back in. It's not that hard. The other thing though, Queensland roads, not the New South Wales roads are good, but Queensland roads are shit. So you probably don't want to be going as fast. The drive coming back from Harvey Bay all the way to Tassie, the drive from Harvey Bay to Brisbane, or I think it's just from Harvey Bay to Brisbane. That was the worst part of it.
The roads in Tassie are pretty good though, actually, apart
Oh,
from all the
unreal.
dead wildlife.
Yeah. No,
Except for all the dead wildlife.
no, we look after it down here.
We were talking about that earlier, weren't we? We were just saying you just got to a point where you just keep perpetuating the legend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually, it got to the point I started believing that I am from Tasmania. Yeah, I had to even go and get these stitches put in where
Yeah.
my other head had been removed.
I think it was Buck that started that, wasn't it?
He was at the Mr. Buckaroony event. He just thought I was from Tassie. And I'm like, oh. I got a few other people on here too. Greg Campbell and Greg Palmer. Greg Palmer's a good guy. Has good taste in vehicles.
Yeah, didn't Greg just go up to the tip or something?
I'm not sure he does get about. He's someone who tows a van.
Mm.
He's got an older van. How was the drive across the straight? Yeah, is that referring to me or somebody else? I have actually driven all the way up the east coast, all the way to past Cairns. Did the Daintree. Can't remember exactly how far I went, but yeah, that's about 10 years ago though.
I
Yeah,
see.
at the moment, Roach. Yeah,
Sorry, keep going.
yeah. At the moment, we definitely do have terrible potholes, but that's because of 2-3 years of really wet weather. It's all starting to change now. They're starting to get in and fix them up.
I tell you what, it's I don't know what it's like down in New South Wales at the moment, but it's bloody getting dry around our area, around here at the moment. We went out to just the other side of Gameri the other day, and the ground is just bone dry. It's like getting to the stage where even the grass is breaking up and it's going back to dirt. And
Yeah,
they even started stopping fires. Right, they allowed fires in the middle part of the campground where it was like real open country. But if you were sort of camped closer to where the bush line was, nah.
It's
Yeah.
around here because my family got properties. It's about the same as what it was in 2019. Not quite as bad, but it's pretty close to what it was then when we had the big droughts. That was the year of all the bushfires. The only
Mm.
difference is because we've had a few wet years, the springs have opened up so the gullies and creeks are flowing. But otherwise, I think that we've had hardly any rain at all this year. It's ridiculous. I think they actually said we've had less rain this year than what we had in 2019 to this point. There you
Yeah,
go. We're
old
just
Lukey
lucky that the
Alexander's
dams are
on there.
full.
He was with us there the other day and brought his caravan out, his little Joko, and showed us. And did you pick your hammer up, Lukey? Did you go stop off a drifter?
Lucky camping gear. What sort of a Jayco was it? Was it like a pop out type one or just a
Just the roof went up, I think.
just a
It
pop
wasn't
top
a,
type? Yeah,
yeah, just a pop top. Yeah, no, nice little van
yeah.
though.
A lot of people on the caravan sites, like the Facebook groups, a lot of people bag out Jayco. We've had Jayco caravans, and they were really good. So
Mm.
it's like with anything, you're going to have problems, and the bigger the company is, of course, there's going to be more problems of them because there's more caravans out there.
Expander. Okay, it did have an expanding
And
bit somewhere.
yeah, so I'm not sure if they're the ones that. They must just pop out one side at the front of. I think they pop out the front.
Yeah, it was a nice little setup though.
Yeah, no, they're good. I saw it. We stopped at Yamba and Iluka on the weekend. Have you been there before, Steve?
I actually have been to Yamba, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we thought, oh well, because if we're ever driving, we just keep going. It's usually if we're going around Brisbane way. Said, oh well, you had a wedding at Byron Bay. We'll go into Yamba and Iluka and have a bit of a look around. Walking down the main street, like where it sort of comes to a T intersection, and this silvery grey BT50 was towing a Java Sirocco. And I had to have a double look at it. No, he doesn't have that anymore, and he's not down here. So it was just a bit funny to see. Yeah, that's what you want, Lukey. Under 2 tons. I know that like just from towing vehicles on trailers, as soon as you get over that 2 tons, you really notice it. It's a lot of weight you're also putting on the back of your vehicle.
Jason's asking Buck a question about his Cape York trip.
The little wooden table. I wonder, is that a little Uniflame table they have?
It could have been, yeah. Yeah, we've got a couple
Yeah.
of those there. Although they're actually metal with a little wooden end on them.
Mm.
Bruce Cresswell's
Snow
on
Peak.
there, evening.
Yeah, Brucey subscribed today. Thanks, Bruce. Getting the numbers up.
Good
I'm
on
going
you.
to start getting back into doing some videos. I've got a few there, and I'm hoping to go away tomorrow just for a drive. But where I'm driving, not many people have gone before. It's just it's an unknown sort of road. It just goes through paddocks. It's an actual road, but it goes through people's paddocks and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's about 200k round trip, but it's gonna take me. Well, it thinks about 5 hours, but driving my vehicle will be a bit longer.
Yeah, well,
So
I put that video up today when we were down in Taree there a few weeks ago. I went for a bit of a drive over to Wingham and had a look around Wingham and Wingham Brush, and I seen a
yeah,
comment you put on there. I never realised, like you said, you were a school teacher at the school
yeah,
down there, the Brush down there, and
yeah. My
you
first
said you
school.
also used to live out at Old Bar, which is just around Taree and that as well. And it's a small world. Like I
It
grew up
really
there, and
is.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't take much. You can find anyone and you find some sort of connection or interest. It's funny for a big country with all these different cultures, you can still go anywhere and have a conversation with anyone basically and have some story to tell that you could share, some sort of common interest. But
Well,
yeah,
Buck's always
Wingham,
saying it, isn't he? He's always saying
yeah,
everyone's got a story.
yeah, yeah. Wingham Brush was my very first school that I taught at. So I watched it. I didn't actually see what your description was before. I just clicked on it. And as soon as I saw that plane, I thought, oh, bloody know where that is, because it was right
Yeah.
opposite where I used to park my car.
Well, that's why I went out there because it's very iconic, isn't it, for that town? Because I can remember it as a kid. Like we always used to be pestering our father to go over there and have a look around. And you don't often see like a big park in the centre of a town like that anymore.
No, and that's they've got a showground, but that's where they have festivals in that square. So they've got a
Yeah.
Celtic festival they have there, and it's a really good one. Like it's a family day out, and and they have sometimes car shows there as well. It's a
Mm.
really good square. I had a speaking of Buck here, at the School of Infantry, being in Singleton, which is my second hometown. Um, I had a student the other day, and he was saying how he wants to be in the infantry. I started talking to him and got him onto Kaz's channel, in the trenches with Kaz. So he signed up, subscribed, and started watching his videos. And he comes back as, "Yep, that's what I want to do." So that was good. It's actually rare these days to see someone knowing what they want to do.
Oh, it's pretty cool, isn't it? I know I haven't seen him for a while, but we had a couple of young kids in Woolies there. They sort of started there when they were, 15 and whatever, and started filling and then started doing other things. And then there was this young bloke, and he was about this high to me, and then slowly he started getting taller and taller and taller. And I said, what are your plans in life? And he's actually enrolled in the Air Force, and he actually enlisted, and he joined up in the Air Force. So really good to see.
Yeah, it is good to see, isn't it? I reckon if everyone did some sort of national service when they were younger, especially if they didn't know what they want to do, the place would be much better.
Yeah, funny you say that. Like I was going down the street there earlier, and I had the CB going on the car like I normally do, and there was some young. It was obviously a young kid or something, but he had some song. He was pressing the receiver down on the bloody mic, and playing some bloody rap crap. Like it was just
Mm.
utter rubbish, and he was like just playing it non-stop. And then guys were getting on there and saying, what's wrong with kids today? Like they just got nothing better to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just got no idea
Yep.
about anything. Like I mean, you probably see it more in the job you're in than
Yeah.
what we do.
Our biggest struggle at the moment is COVID. Even though COVID, in a sense, is over, like with all the restrictions, etc. We don't really have
Mm,
that side effects, but like we're getting kids through now who, they might be in year 10 timber, where they're expected to start doing some pretty quality furniture projects, but they miss out on year 7, year 8 timber. So they're
mm.
missing the early stuff, and now they're expected to do this. We get kids now who are in year 8 timber. They don't know how to measure because they missed out on year 5 and 6. So what
Yeah,
we're going to see the effects of this for a long time.
yeah. It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, and like because I teach both primary and high school, and some kids didn't get one full proper year of school until they got to year 3, just because of all the other effects. Like that's crazy. So, yeah, as I said, it's going to be a long time. We'll see the effects of all this.
Know
Good
what
to hear,
Andy's
Buck.
saying there.
Yeah, it's one thing that um, it's really frustrating that we don't have national service for a lot of these kids because they've got no ambition. They don't want to do anything. Whereas if they get out there, they can start building friendships, which a lot of people social skills are lacking. People don't have friendships anymore. They can get some skills behind them or some will, and then they go. They could whether they stay in the army or they go and do something else. When I lived in Sweden, like Sweden and Norway, I'm pretty sure both had some sort of national service, and it was a few years ago now, but the youth were very different. They didn't seem to have those problems that we do with some of our youth. But
Mm.
also the last few years, it seems like things are going pretty crazy here, especially in Queensland.
Yeah, I think a few of them are talking about woodworking. Yeah, like it was something I did as a kid. That's what I got into my bit. Like, see that little cupboard behind me there?
Yeah,
That was something I built a few years back. Just knocked it
yeah.
together out of a few bits of scrap wood I had in the shed.
No, it looks good.
Actually, most of the furniture I've got in my house, I've either built myself or I actually haven't
Yeah,
bought many bits of furniture. I've nearly built everything that's in the house.
yeah. And you're going to keep it for a while because it's also going to last.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's definitely one thing I find when you make something, whether it's furniture like that or building a drawer system, doing like your energy system that you did in your FJ, is that when you've done it yourself, that sense of pride you have, even though it might not be better than one that you go and get a business to put in, but the fact that you
Mm.
did that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an unreal feeling.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the old energy system. I'll get that video out soon. It's nearly getting up to 12 months, so I'll have to do a video and let everyone know how it's going.
Yeah, it's one that just before you did the installation of it, I was looking at it, and I almost went and bought a system afterwards. And I had an AGM at the time. I thought, no, wait till it dies. And if I wasn't waiting for it to die, so then I could get a lithium, it wouldn't have lasted as long. But I had that thing for 5 years and it was still going, just a
Mm.
Century 120 amp hour AGM. So I just couldn't
Yeah, I've got.
justify the price until the AGM went.
Yeah, well, I've got a old, like we've been using the teardrop again since we've sort of mothballed the dot at the moment, and we've been taking the teardrop away, and it's only got a 120 amp hour AGM in it, and that thing's over 5.5 years old, and it still seems to be, touch wood, it's still running okay over weekends. It's holding its voltage,
Yeah.
and oh, we only use it for the fridge and lights occasionally, and nothing more.
Do
But
you
it
do
still
you
does it.
charge it up like once a month or once every couple months?
When I get home, I actually have it. I've got a 60-watt solar panel on the roof of the shed, and I just run a
Yeah.
cord down to it and just have it running in a slow trickle charge going into it, and
Yeah,
it just
okay. So
keeps
it's
it
just
topped up.
constantly topped up. Yeah. Well, what we in the army vehicle, that was my first deep cycle battery. What we used to always do is the old starter batteries, the N70s, which is a common four drive starter battery. They're about 80 amp hour anyway. We just, whenever we got a new one, say 3 years or whatever, the old one became the second battery. And we'd never had
Mm.
any problems. When we went down and did the high country over Easter, we only had our starter batteries. That's it. And we were running a fridge each plus your other accessories. But we're on the go each day. So it was fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I just read old Lukey's running the iTech world still.
yeah. Is it Luke, is it the first sort of model they had out, or is it the new, what are they called? X Pro or something? They are a bit more expensive, their new ones. But I think the difference is that they got a higher output for what you can run off them. And I think they might, I'm not sure whether the water rating's different on them either.
There's that many different batteries out there now. Like I've been hearing good things about the new King's lithium battery, the 200 amp hour one as well. Like,
Yeah.
and for the
That's what I'm
price of
looking
it,
at.
yeah, like for the price of it,
Yeah.
it's a cheap battery.
You don't read any more negative comments about their new lithium batteries than nearly any other brand, really, especially for the
No,
price
no,
point. And then I think that's 100 or 120 amp hour, $480. Like that's cheap. That's in AGM territory.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think the biggest things, if you're going to start looking at bigger batteries, because you went 200, didn't you?
yeah. I went 200, yeah, only because I wanted the capability of running my coffee machine and all that sort of thing, and being able to have a few other luxuries in the car.
Yeah, and I think that's the main thing is that it's if you want to start running other things or if you want to be parked up for a few days. But
Mm,
if we're stopped for longer, we just get out one of those foldable, like the solar blankets, and we just put that
yep,
out. I don't even bother about getting it fully set up in the right position. Um, I just throw it out flat, and it's constantly topped up.
yeah, and I mean I've got the Starlink now too, but I quite often just run the Starlink off that little iTech World battery pack system I've got. It is absolutely brilliant, that little 50 amp hour battery pack system that I got
Yeah,
off iTech World. Um, I can't fault it. It's been absolutely fantastic.
and that's what I'm looking at the moment too, because I was saying to Steve before we came on that my setup's now changing from having one vehicle I'd take, that we've got about three different vehicles that we take on trips, different trips. And whatever I have, my gear or battery system, it needs to be portable between different vehicles, whether that's a battery box with a bigger battery or one of those portable stations, which, yes, they cost more, but they're portable. They've already got everything inbuilt to them. And I just love the fact that you could easily just put it in a car, or if you're at a campsite, because some campsites, like if especially national parks, where you can park up, but then you've got, are they bollards? and then you have to put your
Yeah, yeah.
campground. So at least you can take, if you need to take your portable power, you can.
Mm.
So there's definitely, I'm looking at them quite seriously. Something else I was going to say about the batteries now, but I can't remember. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, Anthony's saying he runs the 200 in his canopy.
Yeah, and it's good. Like with a 200, you know that you're not going to have to worry about power. You've got it there.
Oh,
So
ever since I've put that system in my car, I don't even. I thought I would be looking at it all the time, but it just it you don't even have to worry about it. Like you just know that it's
yeah,
always charging and topped up. Like whether you're driving the car, even when I've been parked up for a few days at a time and it's been cloudy weather. I mean, I think the lowest I've ever got it to so far is about 61%. And
yeah,
61% of 200 amp hours is still plenty of power.
absolutely. What size charger do you have on it? Like your
It's
DC
actually
DC
got,
or
I've got a 50 amp DC to DC in it, but it only ever, when I'm running the car, it only ever, because I've got one of those smart alternators in the car,
yeah,
and someone told me you can run a red wire from an ignition switch or something like that and then run it to the battery. But I found out if you do that with my particular car with the FJ, you can end up stuffing your alternator. So
yeah,
I
not worth it.
opted I opted not to do that. I'm quite happy for it to pump in 35 amps and it'll charge it up with what I've got with solar on the roof.
Yeah. Remember what I was going to say. So with talking about solar blankets and the foldable ones that have the
Mm.
legs on them, depending on where you are, the optimum angle is whatever latitude you're on as well.
Okay.
So the angle you'd have, and so that's what they do when they're putting them on houses. So they
Mm.
don't put them on the same angle what they would in Tasmania as what they would do in Brisbane.
So
So
what do they
it's the
put them on
same.
in Singleton?
I think it's about 32 degrees. We did it, and see, I looked at it and thought, oh, bullshit, there wouldn't be that much difference. But in my engineering class this year, we actually tested it, and it was
Yeah.
about 20% difference between, say, 32 degrees and I think we went up to 30, 38 degrees, somewhere around that. And yeah,
Yep.
quite a big difference. You wouldn't think it. Obviously, it depends on the time of the day and everything, but yeah, as
Mm.
an average, whatever latitude you're on. Someone's just saying there that Trev's got a good setup. I really like Trev's setup. Simple, easy to do. I think he's just got an awning and a swag. I think he's got a swag on a stretcher. But see,
Yeah,
a lot of
he's got the little Subaru, hasn't he?
yeah, is it the XV?
Trevor. Yeah, XV. Yeah, I used to have an XV.
Yeah,
They're an awesome little car. I used to tow around the little teardrop we got with a little XV.
yeah. And and that's all you need. Like you don't need to have a big four drive to get a lot of places. Most of the time, a car will get you there. It's the clearance of your car before the traction that will get you.
Mm.
I've got a little Honda Jazz as my A to B car, low as anything, but I'll take it up through the paddocks.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's not until I'm going through like a dip or something that it will be a problem. But it's got traction control and it will just go up the hills fine. I tell you what, we did see a lot of on the weekend, FJ cruisers.
Oh,
There's
did you?
heaps of them.
Oh,
It's
yeah. They're a popular vehicle. Like you'd be
yeah.
surprised. I think they did have a meetup somewhere. I did see on the FJ Cruiser site they were having a meetup somewhere.
Okay. Actually, I might have seen it too. They are. I remember when they first came out, because I always like the old Toyota Cruisers. And when they first came out, I thought, what the hell is that? Like, they look like they've gone too futuristic.
Yeah,
But now you look at them and they are cool.
yeah. I actually look at it now and I go, and you look at some of the more modern cars now, and I think bloody hell, the FJ was ahead of its time because it was first produced in 2010, and they basically haven't changed the body design since then.
No. Have they stopped making them now?
Yeah, I think production, they were still making them for Saudi Arabia,
Ah,
and
okay.
but I've got a feeling that's going to finish up soon too.
Yeah, because I know they were doing them in the States, weren't they? And they stopped that, or did they never do them in the States?
Yeah, yeah, good on you, Buck.
Well, I don't know. There's you, there's Ed. I saw those photos of Ed out at, where was it? Birdsville. I don't think he's
Birdsville,
far off the
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I think Tofty's buying one too.
Oh, well, there you go. It's true.
Yeah, yeah, Tofty's buying one too, apparently.
You might have to start thinking about selling yours with the dot trailer.
Yeah, never happened.
No, you'd never buy one again. That, like, if whatever you sold it for, a couple of years later with an extra couple 100,000, you'd be paying the same. As soon as things go out of
I
production, they just keep their value.
I actually stopped off. They just opened up a new Iron Man store in Kingaroy. Woohoo! And I stopped off there today and had a bit of a look around. And I was talking to the guy out there that was running it. And I said, "Oh, I might come out and run the camera around the place." And he said, "Yeah, no worries." And he said, "What do you drive?" And I said, "An FJ Cruiser." And he said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "I don't mind them." He said, "I thought they were as ugly as batshit when they first
Mm,
come out." But he said, "I actually don't mind them." But he said his brother-in-law bought one and because his wife wanted it, and he said he absolutely hated it. But he said he used to
interesting.
take it away on weekends and do four-wheel. He'd do the roughest tracks he could find, and he could not kill it. He said it would just
Yeah,
go anywhere. He said he could not get over how what this thing would do on tracks.
yeah. They've probably got they usually say 100-inch wheelbase is the ideal off-road wheelbase, and the FJ would probably be similar to that because it's not a short wheelbase or a long. It's in the middle. Yeah. Before when Steve and I were talking before we went live, we were talking about setups, different like going swags versus Oz tents, etc. Um, Trying to work out, what sort of tent to go for, because I do. There's a lot of people that are getting a lot of gear, and like I don't have anywhere near as fancy setup as you guys, but I can see why it's easy to um, get involved, get in all this gear. It's quite interesting to get new gear and see how it performs and what other people are doing as well. But that's where I'm getting at the moment is probably going back to simple setups. But it's mainly for me just because of I don't have a lot of room, and my old vehicles, if I can put weight in them, they're actually rated to tow a lot, but they're slow enough as they are, so I don't need to be putting heats on them.
Yeah,
So it's a hard one, like to get the right setup, and I don't think there is any such thing as the right setup. It just comes down to the individuals, and everyone goes through different gear. No one just goes and gets that and oh yeah, got it right first go. Things
mm.
change, your situations. Probably the main. Not many people do go from a caravan back. That's probably the main one. So we're sort of trying to hold off from doing that for a while.
Unless your name's Buck. I mean,
Yeah. Yep. I was generalizing.
no, actually,
I,
I seen old Bucky was camping in his swag the other day, and I thought that's bloody awesome. Like, or he might have had his Oz ten out or something like that. But I think he
yeah,
might have had his King's out, King's Big Daddy out, and
yeah, and that's something else too. Looking at quality, like now that I'm getting a bit older, I want to try and buy quality things so they last. But then
mm,
there's still a place for cheaper things, especially if you can't afford it. But the swag, King's swag's a good example. They're under $200 now, but if you say $200, they're still a good swag. The first one I bought had holes in it, so I had to return it. But after that, it was good, and like I
mm.
don't see it, really falling apart. The worst part was the bag that it came in, but otherwise it's great. And looking at awnings, you can get your Kings or like your cheap Anaconda BCFs, and they're around $100. Or you could go to like 23-0 Darchi, and they're about $300. And like, yeah, they're better quality, but I don't know. I reckon the cheaper ones will do. Palmer, do you mean you're not talking about a caravan there? Do you mean just a box trailer taking it away? Have you got a Hexatarp, Steve?
Yeah. Robin was just. I've actually got both. I've got the Snow Peak medium hexi tarp. That's the one we normally put up
Yeah,
because just about every camp we go to, it rains. But even though it's so dry, it still rains.
yeah. You need to go
But
camping more down this way then.
yeah, like we couldn't believe it. Like last weekend, like we were sitting under the hexi tarp, and the owner come. Like we had two fire pits set up because when we got there, they said to us, "Oh, look, you're not really meant to camp around the perimeter of the paddocks or anything because they got long grass on the perimeter. Like all the center part of the park was all mowed really flat." And we said, "Oh, look, well, we've already booked this campsite. We've got a few people coming. We've got fire pits. We'll make sure we, put it out at night, all that sort of thing." "Oh, yeah, no worries. You're right. Here, we bought 3 bags of firewood off them." First night we had a fire going. The second night the owner come back, and she pulled up in the ute about 7:30 at night. "You can't have a fire. You can't have a fire." And we went, "Well, we were told we were allowed if we had it in a fire pit. Look, we've got a bucket of water there. We've got a hose. We've got all this." And she sort of let us
Yeah,
go. But we we're lucky we had the Hexitarp up anyway because it actually the next morning when we got up it rained for about 15 minutes. So it
yeah,
was good to have the Hexitarp up. So we just had, and we do find too, even if it's not raining, because during winter, I don't know whether everyone else notices, you get the heavy dew coming in late at
yeah,
night. And if you've got some sort of covering over you, it seems to stop that dewy air just coming
yeah,
down on top of you when you're sitting. Like you can have a chair sitting out in the open and you touch it and it's all damp. But if you've
yeah,
got something over the top of it, it seems to just keep the moisture off it a bit.
yeah. And that's what I have found going camping. That I just got a gazebo, and the difference of having that over your camp setup means that yeah, you might have to pack your gazebo top away wet,
Mm,
but means everything else you can pack away dry. Otherwise, you wait until 10:30, 11 o'clock even in the middle of winter for it to dry
yeah,
back out, which is annoying if you might want to pack up and go for a drive, or you don't want to leave everything quite there and get going. Mansfield area, that's down the western side, isn't it, of High Country Palmer? We took we took a couple old Rovers down there, um, only on 29-inch tires, so no 32s, 33s, and we didn't do the real tough tracks, but we still got through Blue Rag fine, and everywhere else we went without a problem. So you can definitely do the high country without having a big vehicle. If you want to start doing the real tough tracks, yeah, you want to be with others, and you probably want to have a winch somewhere. Yeah, nothing worse than a wet pack up. That's the one I used to have a 270 awning, and it was nice that I could at least pack everything up, get home, and then you just open the bag and it just drops down. Like you still have it up there,
mm,
and you can leave it like that for a few days if you're not using the vehicle and it can dry out. That's definitely a benefit of having that. I'm actually thinking about going back to a tarp instead of an awning and making up my own system for it. Just because with the awnings, I want something that comes out the side and the back, but a lot of the 270 awnings, they don't come out square. I know Drifter have a square back one, but
yeah,
most of them don't. And where if you've got a kitchen or something coming out the back, it's hard to get that covered properly unless you want to go and start putting walls on. So I'm actually thinking about making my own system using
Well,
a
that's
tarp.
why we went with the Super Peg
The
Outbound Shield
outbounds,
6.
they're next level.
It's
They're unreal.
it is expensive, but it's a brilliant awning. Like it does give you full, like it's got just as much coverage as their old square back awning because it's made by the same company that
Yeah,
made the square back one.
yeah. No, the first time I saw them was, I think both you and Rob had one set up.
Brad Hooker got one as well.
Oh, did he? Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're just next level quality, and they're sturdy. It's one thing I
Mm,
went and had a look at. It was the King's 270 freestanding, and yes,
yeah.
it's cheaper and everything, but I just it's not as big in coverage. I think they're only 8 meters, whereas the average 270 is 11. Yours would be bigger again, I imagine. It was
Mm,
probably like 14 or 15. But just the brackets, they were flimsy as on the Kings one, and I couldn't justify it. So I'm thinking of making up a tarp that goes on the roof. And I actually got the idea from cling wrap, how you open the cling wrap, making up a system similar to that, but in some PVC pipe. But so it just comes out, rolls back in. And that way I can have it, 6x6. Either
yeah.
one, how I'm going to fold it. That's my idea. I'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I'll just go do tent pole. The problem with tent poles with tarps is if you buy yourself, they're just a nightmare. A bit of wind and you end up swearing. Don't get much
Get one
heat.
of the Hexi tarps.
Yeah, you rate them?
Oh yeah, I reckon they're brilliant.
Yeah. And
Like
how they
the
get?
ones that Drifter sell now, they're really good too.
Yeah. Easy to set up by yourself?
Oh, you can, yeah. They're not difficult to set up. No.
Yeah. One thing I was going to ask people, because I've been thinking about this one for the last few days, is what's the best vehicle you've had? Not necessarily for camping or anything, but just the best vehicle you've owned. And mine's actually not a Land Rover, which goes against what I think. What's the best one
My
you
best,
reckon you've owned?
the best one I've ever owned was my
Mm,
RX5 Ford Focus Turbo with 18-inch
2000s?
wheels, which had about rubber about that thick on them, and it was like a race car on wheels. I sold it because it went too fast.
Didn't want to lose your hair.
Like when I got it, the speedo went up to 320 kilometers an hour,
Jeez. I won't ask how far you got it up, but I'm guessing it was up a bit.
about 265.
Wow, that's impressive. What did you say with 2 liter?
It was a 5-cylinder turbocharged RX
Yeah,
Focus.
wow. Yeah. Yeah, a few different ones there.
I actually have
Mine,
been in a car faster than that. A mate of mine bought, it wasn't my car, but he bought a Club Sport Commodore,
yeah,
and he asked me to drive it back from Brisbane, and it was chipped. It had everything on it. It had leather interior. It was a maroon color, mate. This thing had more horsepower than any vehicle. It was like a race car on wheels. Like it was basically a race car.
that would have been good fun.
I stopped off at Colleton to grab a pie on the way home, and just as you come out of Colleton service station, there's a great big hill incline that you go up, and just as I went to go out of the servo, this truck went straight in front of me. I pulled out. I think I only had it in second gear, 6-speed box. Second gear, I was doing 125 kilometers an hour, and I was
Jeez.
around it like that. Like it was. You just as soon as you put your foot down, the car would just take off. Like it had traction
Yeah.
control. It had everything.
You wouldn't need a seatbelt. You would have been back in your seat anyway.
Yeah, you don't need air conditioning because you just wind the windows down.
Yeah. Might actually be a Toyota Hilux, from '98 to 2005, with a 2.7 petrol. I had just a just a two-wheel drive one, and I took that one halfway around Australia, went all the way up to Cairns, out through Mount Isa, Central Australia, and back down.
There's a
And
few
it
cars
was
coming up
good.
there.
Yeah.
Anthony Wicks, HQ 308. Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, a lot of these are before my
HJ61
time.
Land Cruiser. HJ61 Land Cruiser.
Have you had many vehicles, Steve?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, only like small 2-litre cars. Like I have owned a few cars. Like I've had Utes, Toyota Hiluxes. I've had Nissan Bluebirds. I've had the Subaru XV, Subaru Outback.
Yeah.
Actually, the FJ is the longest car I've ever owned. Like I've
Yeah,
I've sort
right.
of only owned cars like 2 or 3 years, and I've sold them. But
Yeah.
from the moment I bought the FJ, I love driving it. Like it's one of those cars I get in every day, and I enjoy driving it.
Yeah, that's what you want. Something that you can just enjoy. Yeah. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We're going to go shortly because Steve's got an early start tomorrow. It doesn't take long to get past an hour, does it?
I actually said to Lindy when we got on, I said, "How long are you going to talk for?" He said, "Oh, probably only half an hour, maybe an hour
Yeah.
tops." And I said,
Yeah.
"You'll be still on here at 6:45, I guarantee you. 7:45, I mean."
Yeah. So yeah, we'll make sure that we'll wrap it up then. So if anyone has any questions they want to ask, go ahead.
I
Hopefully,
just
been
lost
having
me, just lost my earplug. Can't hear
yeah.
a thing now.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it. Just quickly,
Everyone see me big sign in the background there.
that's exactly what I was just about to say. Oh, there you go. We'll definitely wrap up by 7:45 to get on Kaz's one.
Got me stickers out now and me patches.
Awesome.
Anyone wants any, get on to SMG's website, and he's got them up there for sale. So he's going to be just handling all the sales for me, so I don't have to worry about it.
Are the patches ready to go? Like if you just put it on the carpet or something, like on your drawer system, or
Yeah,
you
like
need to put Velcro? Just go
yeah,
straight on. Awesome.
they'll
Yeah.
just stick on. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
Buck, and thanks everyone else for supporting tonight. Yeah, they're good, ready to go on. They're the ones I want. So you can quickly put them on, and if you change your vehicle, take them off, put on another vehicle. Whereas your stickers, they're good to have as well. But I'm starting to think I need to put stickers on a fridge rather than a vehicle, so I can keep them. Yeah. No, it was good to see a few people on, especially with I've only got a very small channel and I haven't really done much for a while. So yeah, thanks Steve for also coming on. That definitely helped get a few more people on, and sort of I've only done one live feed before, and having someone else there to talk to as well as the comments does help the conversation go. And it doesn't take long, and you feel at ease with it rather than I think if I was just here talking to myself, I'd probably have to have half that bottle gone before I had the courage to do so.
No, it's been good. Now, thanks everyone for getting on.
Yeah,
don't forget to check out Buck's live feed tomorrow night, and if Kaz is on tonight, get on to him as well.
Yeah, and if you guys want more live feeds, or if there's certain people you want to, or if you guys want to join in it, you don't even have to have a YouTube channel. If you want to join in, just get on StreamYard, and it'd be good just having other people on and just talking like Steve and I have. It's always good to talk to other people and see what you got in common, and it just goes to show it doesn't take much, and you can just start talking.
Yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah, all those people that have said I think Anthony and Rochi, if you want to do a camp up, just send me a message. I think I've got you on Facebook anyway, and we'll organise something. As I said, I do have a bit of access to a camping area, which is handy. Just reading Buck's comment there. Youth crime, yeah, that's one I'm really interested in. I've been following that one pretty closely, especially Carl Stefanovic, whether you love him or hate him. He did a nice little interview with the Premier there the other day, and yeah, I just don't think he'll be around for much longer in the Queensland politics.
No, she's done her dash.
She certainly has. Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks, guys, and we might end it there so Steve can get going. I said I wouldn't hold him past 7:45, and if you're following Kaz's channel, jump on there at 8 o'clock. If not, have a look. Even if you're not necessarily into the military side of things, it's some pretty good live feeds there, and some of his topics are pretty good to listen to. All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks, guys, and
See you, everyone.
I'll see you around soon. Thanks, Steve.